for a second. That's so sad. No one has questions. No, I'm just.
Are we ready?
No, but I'll be
7 o'clock.
unless she.
It took some.
I think we clicked okay, we should put a flag.
All of our clocks are different by like 3 minutes. So it's like, we're all looking at.
I didn't bring the song.
7:01. Heard my phone.
All right, let's call this meeting to order. Greg, can you lead us in the pledge this evening?
Right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sir? Everyone do the roll call.
Halen. Here. Geisler. Here. Beavers.
Here.
Craig.
Here.
Nichols.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Weasler.
Here.
Help me out.
Quick question.
Mhm.
Is that fine?
We can, but it's,
Yeah.
the one that doesn't take 2 minutes and.
Yeah.
so You kind of, yeah.
Okay, first of all, any public comments? Anybody here?
No one online,
What's that?
no one online.
Okay, all right. No public comments, so can I get a motion to open the public hearing for 219 West Grand River?
Make motion.
Second,
Greg.
okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, so we now, the public hearing for 219, I'm going out of the order, I just want to get that out of the way, right? So, any public comments on that? That is the house that we are mowing, and we are going to add the cost of that to their tax bill. So we needed to have a public hearing to do that. All right, if there's no public hearing, we're gonna close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the.
Yep,
A second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, perfect, thank you. Can I get a motion for approval of the December 4th, 2023 meeting minutes?
I make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion, any concerns, any questions? Everything look good? All right, all in favor of approving the minutes from the December 4th meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Okay, the minutes from December 4th have been approved. Treasurer's report, can I get a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
Make a motion.
Okay, any discussion, any questions? Any issues, anything from the finance committee on this? Okay. All in favor of approving the treasurer report, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Perfect, the treasurer's report has been approved. Okay, first item is the audits. We have a gentleman here.
Thanks, guys. Randy Meter with B&B and Associates. We're a firm based in Owasso, and this was our first time going through the audit, but it was fun to, we spent some of our formative years in Laingsburg with some business interests, so it was fun to come back to Laingsburg and see some of the folks again. So appreciate the opportunity to complete the audit. When you engage a CPA firm to complete an audit, there's various things that are involved, and I'll just kind of step through at a high level. I know that we've got a full agenda tonight. So there were 3 documents in your packet relative to the audit. The first is kind of a management communication. So there's certain things when you engage a CPA firm to do an audit. We certainly look at the numbers, we look at the details, but we also look at internal controls and how the operations of the finance office is functioning. And the first couple of documents you have in your packet are specific communications that we have to management that are required communications from the audit firm relative to some of those items. And this is where if we had issues to highlight, we would communicate to management things that we didn't like from internal controls or proper handling of cash or something like that. I'm not gonna go into detail because we really have nothing to report, in that management communication, to the organization. There are some communications about accounting standards. It gets kind of technical, and we'll talk a little bit about in the financial statements, how, we treat certain things from an accounting standpoint. But the takeaway there is we're happy to report in our analysis, when we look at internal controls, we're happy to report that we didn't have any findings around that. The other thing that we communicate in there is that even though you have an audit, it doesn't really relieve you of your responsibilities to have a good control structure. So we'll look at you know, how things operate in the library and that sort of thing. But that is still something as a governance perspective that the council should be keenly in tune to, in terms of how you set your policies and procedures. With that, I'm going to step into the bulk of the audit report. There's probably the third document in your packet. It's about a 50-some page document report on financial statements, and this is where we get into details of the numbers. 56 pages. I'm not going to touch the numbers for the audit report.
Yeah, but we don't have a game tonight. Take your time. No.
I will say that, you know, the finance committee and the council goes through in good detail on the fund level. And so as you talk about the different funds that you have, whether it be general fund, library fund, those sorts of things, I think the council gets a good information in terms of financial reports that you get there. I will say that the audit report is the one time that we kind of put everything together and kind of look at the overall strength of the organization. So if you look at, I'll flip to the second page of that longest document where it actually has the contents of the audit report. There's really kind of the three things that I want to talk about. The first independent auditor's report. Conceptually, that's the only thing that belongs to the auditor. The auditor puts an opinion after we go through all of our analysis. We say yay or nay that we believe that the financial statements are presented fairly with governmental accounting standards, and then we conclude that they are. And so the information that's presented here is what we call a clean opinion. Financial statements from an audit have some management discussion analysis that's included. That is just kind of a buildup. It's a required part of financial statements from a government perspective. It's more used maybe within larger organizations if you were going out for competitive grants or financing, that you're able to tell your story about what you're doing as an organization. And it is part of an audit report that you know, financial institutions would look at that when you're bonding and that sort of thing. But it just talks about some of the financial highlights that people don't have to dig through 50 pages of financial numbers. And then the basic financial statements are pages 12 and 13. And that's where I'm going to spend my time. If you go on the contents, we have the fund information that goes below in the table of contents. You guys spend a good amount of detail throughout here going through the various funds that you have. So I'm not gonna spend any time on that. And then the required notes to financial statements. So there's certain numbers in the financial statements that the readers of the financial statements, i.e. financial institutions, if you have, when you have bonds, the organizations want to know some of the details behind that, and they're required, but I'm not going to spend time on those. So let's turn to pages 12 and 13, and that'll be the kind of the synopsis of the takeaway here tonight. Statement of net position. So this is really what we'll call a balance sheet of the entire organization, and we do certain things with this financial statement that you might not see in the fund level. So for example, the city has a retirement plan. The employees participate in the retirement plan. None of the funds really bear the individual liability that's associated with that pension liability. And that can be, in some municipalities, can be a significant number. If you think back, when Detroit had to declare bankruptcy, what was the driving factor as to why the city of Detroit had to declare bankruptcy? Well, they had what we call unfunded pension liabilities that back in the accounting standards have evolved over time. But when you only look at the fund level, you don't see maybe perhaps the big picture in terms of what your overall liabilities are. And so pages 12 and 13 are kind of the synopsis where we take all of that information and we put it in one piece of the puzzle so that you get a kind of a complete picture of what you do there. There's some other things that we do on the financial statements here from a fund level, that you might not see at a fund level. We put value on fixed assets, and so, you know, you have a sewer system, that really doesn't, the value of that sewer system might not be readily available. But we do put values on on those types of things. So, if you look at, page 12, you'll look at, the number that I'll highlight here, total assets of the organization, total assets and deferred outflow of resources. Kind of a technical term, but we have a $9 million number of total assets. Turning to page 13, we have total liabilities and deferred inflow of resources of 1.9 million. That leaves what we call kind of your equity position. If you think about when you own your home, you have an asset, you have a mortgage against it, your equity position. You have an equity position of just over $7 million, which for the size of Laingsburg, we would term to be a fairly robust kind of reserve analysis relative to municipalities of your size. Now, that does not mean that you have $7 million worth of cash that you're able to go out and do certain things with, but you do have equity. Equity, if you look at really half of that number is tied up in what we call value of fixed assets. So the infrastructure that it takes to run the organization, the sewage, lagoon system, all of the infrastructure and those sorts of things. A good amount of your equity is tied up in things that aren't really readily available or tangible that you can go out and sell and create cash. But that's what the financial statements here are meant to do, is kind of show you your overall equity position. Really kind of the piece that we look at is what we call unrestricted net position. That's really kind of the piece that you're able to manage if you wanted to, which is really kind of your more liquid assets and less liabilities and what you've got as available funds. And so with that, I will highlight there were a couple of new accounting standards that we implemented this year that you hadn't seen before. There was a new lease standard, which is a bit complex, but the concept is that you have certain assets that now show on your financial statement. So for example, there is a long-term lease with property associated with the golf course. I think it runs for 90 some years, and I don't know where it is in that process, but there's a value now that we have where we account for the value of that lease that you're going to receive over time. And we now put that in the financial statements. And as part of, when you look at our opinion, we say that you adopted an accounting standard that was now required in order to get a clean opinion. And so you've got some leases with not only the golf course property, but a cell tower and some other things that come into play. And you did account for all of those things relative to your financial statement. So overall takeaway is I would think that you're in a strong position relative to municipalities your size, and you have a clean audit opinion. Part of what we do is there's certain filings with the state of Michigan. This gets filed with the state of Michigan. There's certain communications to different departments within the state of Michigan, road reporting, S65 is another report. Happy to say that all those reports have now been filed. And I will acknowledge that our efforts, congratulate your staff in going through a very clean audit. Kind of towards the tail end, we were working with Paula on the exit, and so that presented some complexities. But certainly Paula was very helpful on her way out and making sure that everything was closed. And Kim and Cassie have picked up where they left off. So I certainly, when I got that notification, we were well through the audit, but there were some things that had to get resolved, and I do appreciate staff's efforts for bringing that to conclusion. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions on the 56 pages of detail that you may have. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I raised my hand.
Yeah.
So the one question you said our internal controls look good. That's the only thing that with us not having a city manager like some people do, you feel like though that all the internal controls are placed so that, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't have that, I feel like it's a little bit more complex.
It is. We're always concerned about, does one person control the transactions. And so there's more than one way to skin a cat. In many organizations that we audit, there might be one business manager who kind of controls everything. Well, we have to have compensating controls, perhaps a board member that signs checks or handles certain information. So, yeah, we were happy that you've got what we call compensating controls that, for an organization your size, it is difficult to have what we call segregation of duties.
Right.
But we were happy with what we saw that you met the standard.
And then what is the debt service on page 13, the 1
Yeah.
million? Oh,
Yeah.
what goes in there?
Well, you have, for the street project, you bonded, yes.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
Just to clarify.
Yep. Yep, good question.
I was kidding about that. I was on page 41, you got the discount.
I'm glad that you took care of it, and
Thank you.
No,
that you're here.
for working, council and staff. Thank you for getting me on first.
Any questions, any other? I do have a question.
Sure.
So you brought up Paula, and one of our discussions tonight is hiring a replacement. Maybe a good time to do, and this may feed along with what you just said. Any recommendations that we should do something different in terms of reporting or anything like that?
No, I think that, number one, I wouldn't say that an audit should dictate how you handle procedures. As you can develop compensating controls. I always say that you gotta find the right people and you gotta put the right people in the right seat on the bus. You know what I mean? Yep. That, people may have certain expertise that they bring in, and maybe well versed in certain areas and that you can find. Certainly have to get everything covered, but it may be a time that, Paula, with her institutional knowledge, I'm sure Kim and Cassie have figured out, she had a lot of institutional knowledge that has to be replaced. And so who's best served to, and there's no real right answer in terms of how you do that.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate
thanks,
it.
guys.
We need to approve the audit or anything.
No, because we approved we got it.
Yep. Okay,
Just a report.
yep, all right, next item. We have Rob Kehoe. Rob,
Hi, how's it going?
so we have, as you know, we use the county currently for building inspections and handling building permits and all those good things. A number of folks have had challenges with it. So we've looked at other options. Rob is another option for doing this. So I'm gonna let him kind of talk about how he does things. Yeah.
Well prepared.
Yeah, and how he does things, what we could expect if we were to bring him in, those things, so.
I can honestly tell you though, my brother has his own business, carpentry business, he lives in Perry, says you're awesome, so.
I know, they spoke very highly of it.
Yeah.
Yes,
So my check cleared.
Yeah.
he likes you, so.
Who's that? Who is?
My brother Todd Miller.
Oh, okay.
So the other thing I want to add before we, is one of the challenges we've had in this office, and Kim, correct me if I'm wrong, is that we have people coming in asking questions. Hey, what about this building permit? Why didn't it get approved? What do I have to do about that? And the ladies in the office can do nothing but send them to Piranha to talk to them, right? I think Rob's gonna tell us he will spend some time in the office every week, and they could just say, hey, be here Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Our guy will be here and can answer your questions directly.
No,
So-
I do got a quick question. So with this, because I do see that he has zoning on here, and considering we have that,
Yeah.
this
we need
would
a
be
zoning.
something with that as well. Okay. That's all I need to
Yeah,
know.
because Paula was a zoning.
Yeah,
administrator and-
Because I remember we talked about the
Yeah.
last one, so
And
that's
we
why I
have
was
talked
curious.
about
No, I know, but I was just curious.
I'll work with you, whatever needs you got, I'll work with you. I'd love doing just the building part only, but it's part of the job. Sometimes you get other parts, and have to do them. Well, my name's Rob Kehoe, as I said, and I've been doing building inspections, since 97,
7 years, I guess. I love doing it. I love doing part-time towns. I did work for a town full-time and got laid off and took a part-time job just to get a new job, and fell in love with them. And I started with one part-time town. I was up to, I don't know, maybe 10 or 11 when construction was really, really slow. Cut back to 8 right now. If you hire me, this would be 9. But small towns like this, and this is what I love doing. I do Flushing City. Flushing Township is my biggest one. Then a little city called Mount Morris, Chesaning and Chesaning Township. And next to that is Brady Township. Coming south is a little town called Oakley and Perry. So I make a big circle and you're right in my circle. I definitely would like to do stuff here. I think this is convenient for your residents to deal here than having to go to county. It's not so bad when you live in Corona and need to go to the county, but this is long haul. And if I can help people locally, I have stuff online. Phone's hot all the time. A lot of times if they get a form online, I can talk them through it online. If they could leave it here with the check, I'll come and issue them and away you go. Not sure what else you really want me to go
So
into.
cover, so you have a process for handling building permits and didn't you say online? We do it online too, don't we?
All of our permits are online.
Mhm. And I do some same things. I'd leak them. I do have a website that I started years ago because some of the little tiny towns didn't have websites back then. But it's just a link of your website. So
If I remember right, you have a certain amount of hours every week that you're here, and then you have a file cabinet here, and you keep the records here, and if somebody had a question, you would enter that time frame for them.
I take a lot of stuff with me. If there's too much here to do, and do it at the next town, or there's too many people here to talk to, I'll take my work and catch it up as I go out on the road. I work for all the towns all day long. I've kind of always thought that was fair. I know people that work full-time at one town and then take on side towns at lunch hour and after work and whatever. I don't think that's fair to your full-time business. My full-time business is all the towns. So if I get a call from you at 8 in the morning or 8 at night, that's your time, and it doesn't matter to me. I work with you all day.
Which makes it nice because it sounds like there's problems with a gentleman over there in the county that people are having trouble reaching and.
Not getting calls back.
Yeah, so it sounds like you got a direct connection. You can just deal with them and.
And the other thing it does is it takes it away from them having to deal with it in the office, and I think that's nice. That
Yeah,
they,
so,
Take it off their plate.
yeah,
yeah, that's the question I have is, so if somebody wants to fill out a building permit, is it gonna be your permit or one?
No, I still use your forms. Yep,
Okay.
yep.
And
I'd
then-
scan them and put them on my website too, but it'd be same,
Okay.
same fee schedule, I'm sure.
So would we collect, like, kind of how we do it right now is people come in or they pull it up, they fill it out, we get it and send it over to the county, that kind
Is
of.
that the application and the money and everything?
No, we keep all the money. The building permits they come back and tell us what the building permit will, and we tell the customer and then they pay us. So,
And you keep the money, but the county does all the work?
yeah, we pay them a yearly fee.
Oh, and then have to, okay,
Yeah.
it sounded like you had a pretty good. Keep all the money and make them do all the work.
Yeah.
I don't know, you want to give that up.
Zoning,
Okay, so then they
person,
do.
So, yeah,
Okay.
so she would, we do that paperwork in the office, so, but then we go to the building that we'd send it over. Is that something that we would do
So
with you?
with
or
my
would we-
system is you collect all the money. They'll bring in their application with the money. Somebody here I hope could receipt it or do something.
Yeah, that's how we do. the
And then I get paid just a flat salary. It's
Okay.
10,000 a year, which is 8 something a month.
Okay.
I would be
So do you-
part-time.
So like the county sends us back like per building permit. So like somebody's building a house, obviously it's gonna be way
Mhm.
more than somebody who's building a deck.
Mhm.
They send us back telling us how much to collect from the that.
Is
kind
there
of-
a fee schedule here already?
No, we don't have it. They do all that.
So
They send it
we'd
back.
come up with a fee schedule that would be on the application.
Okay,
And I could figure it out over the phone with a person. Or hopefully they could figure it out right here at the counter
okay,
and leave a check right then. So it's
Okay.
all paid.
all right.
Now, this
And then-
also includes the trade permits, which would be plumbing, electrical, mechanical. I don't do those inspections, but I have inspectors, especially at Cary, which is so close that I think they would like to do them over here. You would collect all the money for the plumbing permit or mechanical permit, and they would get $60 for every inspection they do.
And you would like include like the electrical and those.
Yeah,
permits as
so those
well?
are the trades, plumbing and electrical and mechanicals, the heating part.
Okay, what about soil erosion? That,
Nope, that would still have to go to the county.
Okay.
Well,
all right,
I don't know that part. Now, I don't think they do any soil erosion in Perry. Because it's their own,
That wouldn't be Eagle, part of Eagle, would it?
no, it'd be a county permit. I
We
guess
have
I'd
to-
have to find out.
like if it's under a certain amount, then we have to have them do the waiver, the
Mhm.
erosion waiver, but if it's over, then we have to send it to the county, but it's a different department than the building.
Now, when I did townships, the county did the soil erosion.
Okay,
Do you have any questions for them? No, okay.
Just making sense.
Well, the thing that I feel like speaks volumes to me is that he basically has got 30-day cancellation, so he does good work because he's, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not homeless for an obligation, you know what I'm saying?
I'm not holding out.
Most people, I like that idea that he does a good work and he doesn't,
I think you're gonna be real happy. I think comments like you hear
Yeah.
from Perry, you'll hear here too. But if you don't, shake my hand and say, there's the door. I don't ever have any hard feelings. I've left towns that, things weren't going my way, and I've been asked to leave towns where they weren't going their way. So it doesn't happen very often. I like all the towns.
But it would be nice to have someone that's close, you have to run clear over there.
I
Right.
agree.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean.
Something about
once
doing
we
stuff,
hand it
you
off-
know.
he's knowledgeable.
Right.
Once we hand it
That's
off to the
nice.
county, we usually don't hear from them.
Right.
Yeah.
They're direct with
No
the customer, so
communication.
we don't know what the customer is.
Here's the thing, no, you hear from the customer when they're not
Well, that's what I
happy.
mean. I'm saying the
Yeah.
county does not
Right.
inform us of what's going on between
He
them.
would be here on a regular basis. and you
Right.
could- if you
Not a
needed
lot of
something-
hours, but I would like to
Yeah.
do, what I would like to do is, I work at Perry, Mondays and Wednesdays.
Mhm.
And I'm coming from, Chesaning. I'd like to come here, actually sit here maybe a half hour if I need longer. And then take what I need to go on the road, but it'd be Mondays and Wednesdays.
Yeah, I think it's important that you're here at a scheduled time.
Mhm.
I don't know that it needs to be,
Mhm.
I certainly know it doesn't have to be 4 to
Yeah.
6 hours, right? But if somebody has a question, we can say,
Right.
he'll be here. 1
And I
o'clock on
usually
Wednesday.
try to be very punctual. I'm really on
Well, and we,
board
I
to
mean, we
get
have
to
the
people.
auditor is like that too, like, we tell people, if you wanna talk to the auditor, she's here at
That's-
Yeah.
Wednesday at
Yeah.
8:30, so.
Right.
I mean, that's not an issue. We-
I'd say between that and being able to call me on my cell, it's,
Yeah,
I
that's,
think everybody probably knows that my number, everybody in the world knows my number. So, now I might be waiting on somebody and it'll go to voicemail, but I usually do my callbacks is when I get in the road. And if I go again, I'm gonna call everybody back, so.
So do you know what kind of relationship as far as a notice that if you stop using,
the county,
yeah.
I don't know, for sure, what, if
Those are
we have
things that
a,
we would have to figure
I
out.
don't know that
I'm not
either.
sure we, like.
So are we paying them too? Or I mean, are we paying them? We're not doing their job?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
We pay them a yearly. fee. They
What's
have a
that? What is
contract,
that?
$3,600.
so this is a little bit more,
Right.
but you're right.
Right.
But you're collecting the fees too,
Right.
remember?
Yeah.
This way with me.
Yeah, we did with them
Yeah.
too. I mean, we kept the
Yeah.
fees with them.
Yeah.
We kept all our.
We were getting what we were paying for though. I feel like it.
Yes.
Hey,
yeah.
Yeah, I believe we have a contract, but I think it's really, I mean, like, I don't.
Let's see.
I remember we looked into it like a while
Yeah,
ago, and I could go back and look and see if I.
Now, starting from scratch, a town that never had it, it's difficult. You gotta go through Lansing. They only meet quarterly. So depending on how you get your paperwork into them, it could easily be 4 months before they'd have a hearing that says you're allowed to take it over. If it's switching from one municipality to another, it's send them a form, and I think I'd like to meet with, I've never met Pete Preston ever,
Okay,
but I'd like to meet him and
You would probably. be able
work
to
it
talk
out.
to
Now,
him.
there's another
Right.
part to that too, of you guys. You collect all the money. Is the outstanding permits. I'm trying to figure that is. I've worked for towns where maybe the inspector gets a percentage of the
Mhm.
permit. So he's already been paid on inspecting your house. Quite often, he would finish off that job and.
That would make sense.
We-
Yeah, but now here, I don't
We're the
know,
only City that
They
the
do.
county does.
you
they
collected the
don't.
money. I'd say they could be done tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I'm not for sure, I won't
Okay.
say I'm sure. but
And
I'm
I'm
pretty
more than
sure
happy
that-
if you want me to meet with them and try to work out a time to start thing.
so you said there's a process we have to go through with the state?
No.
Very simple if it's just changing municipalities
Okay.
of whose jurisdiction it is.
Got it.
Let's say there was, like the state was in charge of it.
Yep.
It was taken from the state. That's a big deal and a timely deal.
But we are not doing that.
No, that you would not have.
Okay.
What are you looking for?
So I think that what we want to do is take the next month, figure out all those details about changing, right? What do we need to do?
Mhm.
And then in the next meeting, February, vote to whether we want to make that move, once we know those details. If everybody's good with that. And if you have concerns,
Do you
let's,
have any questions or?
I'm just processing it.
Yeah.
Cost analysis and the price difference and stuff.
Right. so,
I do feel like that. You went to the building. Yeah, so, and Jeff and I have as well, and we've had people in here that have went through it. And, I do feel like it would be nice when someone comes in and wants to spend their money in Laingsburg, that we grieve them with not the grief that we have had to go through.
No,
And I feel like that's worth a little bit.
what I've seen too is like, in the past with, like even fences and stuff, or even sheds. Yeah, someone draws up something or whatever, but it don't always turn out that way. And then. No one comes back and checks on it. I got that next door. And, it's a nightmare, but so you do all that, but you check, correct?
Mhm.
And that's
I keep-
what definitely needs to happen.
I
'cause-
keep a spreadsheet, just a simple Excel spreadsheet. They make BSNA. I don't know if you use BSNA for other programs. They have a module for the building permit program. It's super expensive great for big towns. Way too complicated for small towns. I know how to use it. It's not an issue of too complicated. It's just way more money than you're right to spend. I use an Excel spreadsheet and have just many columns, how much was the job for like a construction project? How much is the permit for? And then it goes over to other tables of, a footing inspection, underground inspection of its plumbing, all of those. And as the inspectors call me back in that they did them, or I've gone out and done them, they're entered in the computer and finalized out.
I think
No.
that's what we fight with the most, is that they'll come out and look at the preliminary things, but then when you go to the final,
Mhm.
then they're asking for stuff that should have been done. And I consistently, I
Yeah.
think we've had that issue, so.
I would say my biggest problem is they like a small project, like a shed or something, they never call for final, like a pole barn, they're calling for the footings because.
Yeah.
They don't want to cover something up, but once it's done, oh, I forgot to call them, so I try to, this time of the year. Pull up old ones and just go as I'm going that way, but generally speaking, ones that aren't finalized out are usually because they didn't call it in. It's their responsibility to call it in. But if there's a complaint, a concern about it, obviously that comes right up to the top of the list.
Well, that was my biggest complaint over the, past here. It's like, okay, so I don't know how you got that, but. Now it's up, it's not right, and nobody's doing anything about it. And I've seen lots different things here in town, not just next door to me, but other places, like what the heck?
It's
Went out
tough,
there.
and I mean, many times, The solution is you go to court, and that's not cheap, it's
Right.
not fun, you got two neighbors hating each other. One's gonna hate each other way more at the end.
Just wait for time. on that.
But that's, you know, the main solution. I love it when I can help in the middle, and work it out, you know. But, I mean, it does happen, you know, fence is supposed to go in the good side out and it went the
Yeah.
other way, you know.
I've seen that around here, like, what is
I know,
that?
it's not supposed to be that way. Do we go to court on something like that?
Right.
$10,000 worth of court costs in a year and. When we get to
It's cheaper
court.
to flip neighbor off.
I mean, you do your
I
best you
mean-
can, and there are permits that,
So the permit, let's say a permit's $300, right? Part of that cost is gonna be an electrical permit.
Mhm.
Part of that is gonna be $60, so we'd collect the $300, but then when the electrical inspector went out, we'd have to pay them the
see,
60.
they usually bill
Oh, yeah,
monthly or quarterly,
yeah,
but yeah,
but
they'll
that-
bill for.
out of that $300, 60 of.
Well,
them-
there might be several inspections. So
Okay.
the new home, there'll be a service inspection for the electric and a rough and a final. Plumbing, there's usually an underground, a rough and a final. Mechanical, it's quite often only just two, a rough and a
Right.
final.
That's the
Yeah.
one that we seem to have the issue over here. We've had to go through the state a few times for the.
That was a nightmare. That, I know that's when that happened,
Yeah,
the 100% county's fault. I knew that inspector. He was way lower than anywhere else. And he asked for a $5 raise. They wouldn't get it to him and he walked.
we have to go.
And they couldn't find anybody else, and plumbing is the hardest one to find. They're God. They are, no, they are.
That's what they need to do.
You need to be an inspector. It actually is a good
I
thing.
thought about it.
How that started years and years and years ago, when they first started doing inspections and stuff, the plumbing union said that plumbers have to give up their license. See, I have a builder and have a builder's license. I couldn't build in this town or my other towns. But I could build up north or somewhere else. Plumbers have to give that license up. So it's not gonna be, you know, a young guy or a middle-aged guy. It's gonna be some guy that's wanting to
Retire.
to retire. And to start off as your only job retired is you're the plumbing inspector for Laingsburg, you're not gonna get rich, you know?
We're gonna move down south, where it's warmer, it's.
Yeah, but if you had picked up 10 towns like these guys do, it's a great job and they love doing it.
Yep.
And, you know, they're usually,
So our
pretty-
fees, I mean, back to
Uh-huh.
our fees would have to reflect that there would be maybe 3 or 4 inspections.
Right. I look at those all the time, end of the year, how much should we pay the trade inspectors and me?
Right,
How much should we bring in?
right.
The state has said you can't make money, you can't run the DPW off the building department.
Mhm.
Now, 1 year you can have a good year, we just got a subdivision, there's 8 new homes.
Right.
Boom, next 5 years, we don't have any homes.
Yep.
It's not so good. But generally speaking, it's supposed to pay its own way. If it doesn't, you're allowed to raise your rates.
Right.
I hate doing that. I don't think it's fair to put the burden 100% on, you know, some guy that's just doing a little shed or something, you know, but if that's your call, you can pay out of the general fund or you can jack up the rates. Yeah.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Sound like a plan? We'll investigate how to get from here to there and we'll make a decision in the next meeting.
You want me to come back to that one?
You're welcome to, but I don't know that you need to.
Thank you.
I'll let you,
Yeah,
I'll let you know, yeah.
no
thank you for
problem.
your
So-
time.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
That's all good. All right. Approval. Oh, man, there it is. Approval of the overhead door.
Know what was that for? Is that date something for DPW?
That's a, yeah, or went through finance then.
Yeah, the-
Finance, he didn't have a DPW. It had been quite a while since we'd had our doors looked at on the building, our overhead doors. And so I got a hold of Brandy, I had a deal that was wobbling. And I said, let's go through and do the inspection. I'd like to get him on every couple of year inspection. But this is to get our doors back in function, order without having to worry about things. Replacing some rollers, replacing some seals. We got a couple of buttons for the doors that are not acting right. And so this gets cosmetically and functionally back to the.
How much are we talking?
It was 21
100.
altogether.
The 8 doors, we made the recommendations.
So we have that money?
And it's made,
It's
it's
8 doors.
essentially,
Right.
it's
I feel
made, so it has to be done.
Well, and plus some of this is gonna help probably with heat because seals and, I mean, things have to be.
Okay, can you get a motion to approve that?
I make a motion, a second.
Okay, any more discussion, any other questions for Dave or? I think that falls under the, that we need to do it category, so. All right, it's money, so we'll need to do a roll call for a vote.
Halen,
Yes.
Geisler, yes, Beavers,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Geisler.
Yes. Okay, next one, approval of Grand River from Woodbury Road project. Maybe you wanna,
Okay, this is another one. I've been working with the county, with Brad and Chris. They are gonna be paving Grand River Road from Morris Road to our city limits next year. And this is an estimate from them to continue on to Woodbury Road, so ours will be followed with them. Our CIP plan hasn't been done in 26, but I don't see that we should be doing it separate from them. I mean, if they're gonna do anything, let's just do it, be done with it.
you're talking from the city of Laingsburg sign?
Yes,
To
to Woodbury Road,
Woodbury.
yep,
Does it include the intersection or just to?
up to, we just did the
Up to,
intersection.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
You mentioned earlier too, that because they're doing so much of that, like basically we're getting a discounted rate for looking at it.
yeah, it'll be on what they're,
okay, can we get a motion to approve that?
Make a motion.
Okay, more discussion. I always do that and think, okay, we're not done discussing it, but I want to get the motion out there, so. Any other questions? So you're talking 2025 to do it or 2024?
2024.
2024,
This year,
okay.
this fiscal year.
Will they start or finish?
Will they start or finish? They will start in the spring. They've already started prepping. They've already started, that's what the tree trimming.
Okay, I didn't know if they're gonna like start the project here or start it at Morris.
They're gonna start at Morris Road, come this way. Only because they're out of Columbus, so that's the closest stop to this thing.
It's a lot of road.
Price wise, it didn't look that. Yeah, compared to some of the other stuff, it's very.
Chip and seal or full rebuild?
It's inch to an inch and a half HMA overlay into the asphalt, and then they'll do a chip and seal. They're usual, they'll chip and seal at the same time, and then they'll stripe it and.
So you being the guy that normally deals with this, cost look good, cost less than if we were to do it? Cost
Yeah,
makes
and
sense, I guess.
after a meeting of the day with Adam, I went
Yeah.
to meet this with Adam. And,
Yep.
and we cannot get places like that. That's a piece of a really screaming deal from what they're getting.
I mean, that's a pretty decent stretch, though, going from what, the city limit sign
Quarter
Yeah.
mile.
to there. I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty good. For what we were paying on other stuff.
Okay. Any more discussion? You want to vote? All right, do a roll call.
Halen,
Yes.
Geisler, yes, Beavers,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Nichols.
Yes.
Miller. Geisler.
Yes. All right. DNR trust fund grant. Olivia, you wanna talk about this?
Sure. At the beginning of last week, I believe, we got an email notifying us that we were awarded funding for the Looking Glass River Access Site Development Project that Kim, Cassie, and Paul have been working on. I just did the very tail on like the last revision, so I'm not super familiar with the project, but it's the one adding an accessible kayak launch and paving some ADA accessible parking spots and adding a porta potty and stuff. On the Looking Glass River, so we got $200,000, and I think that we match 100.
I don't think so.
But they said that the contract won't be for 4 to 6 months, so still a ways away for like contract, but I think you can start some prep activity and it would be covered by the grant. That's all that I know about it.
Yeah, we talked to Adam a little bit today about it, and he's like, we should be pretty good as far as the grant goes, because we did so much work too for the grant. So we should be ready, and maybe some updates.
No, there was a
There.
site that was picked out, if I remember right,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, like we finalized the
Yeah, that's what I thought.
actual drawing that we picked and all that stuff, so.
Knowing building, it's been a little bit since we did it. Was it 300,000 when we originally?
I think it was more, wasn't it? Or,
I don't remember the
So
numbers.
can you pull out all that information?
Yep.
And have it on the agenda
And
for
if
the
you
next
talk to
meeting?
Adam, I mean, should we be knowing if we should be considering that it's gonna be more than that? You know what I'm saying, with the time frame?
Yeah,
Yeah,
what I-
another 6 months, yeah. I just wanna know,
Yeah,
so we'll have an idea. Cause if we do stuff, like she says, and then we decide not to go forward, we have to pay for that. Stuff that we want to do that. So I'd like to know what
there are options there at this point.
well, no, what the idea of the full price
Right.
is that we're gonna, cause I do think we have a good plan and that's already
Mhm.
in,
Yeah, we had to do so much stuff,
right.
so there's gonna not be a lot to do for,
I mean, we can't dig up soil stuff, so we had to, I mean.
right, and we had.
it's-
I can't remember if it was more than 300,000.
I think it was less than that, but maybe that one was less than that. There were some other ones we were looking at too.
Do you remember that?
I'm like, I
Okay.
can't.
I mean, it's been a while.
Alright, I don't remember, but
Seems
I,
like it was 2 something.
Yeah,
So let's pull
eleven
out,
under 300 or something. on
let's
that.
pull out for the next meeting where we were, what we had, the plans. And we can, instead of just trying to guess and remember. And it doesn't sound like there's a rush to get it done, so.
So are they looking to do this though this year? With this four to
Not,
six
I
months?
mean, for the, no.
No, Adam said probably next fall,
25?
Yeah.
because they're not gonna be ready for another 4 to 6 months. And then us getting bids and stuff like that, it probably wouldn't, it's
Almost 2 more years.
only been 15 since they started this project.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
through
it's
this now.
4 years.
normally these grants, they'll give you a deadline that has to be
Mhm.
completed by, so we could ask what that deadline is to.
But, I mean, we're all remembering that we were pretty far along on the planning process, so there won't be
Mhm.
that much.
Right,
That we may need to, we'll have to reprice it, we may want to tweak something, we may want to discuss it more,
Mhm.
but. So.
Great.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Economic property strategy,
That's also me.
okay,
Next, 1, 2, 3, the 3 items are for the RRC renewal process, just making sure that we have all of the annual updates that we need to have for the best practices and also changing or updating some if they've changed the best practices since the last time we reviewed something. So the first one, the economic development strategy. This is just, city council looking over the plan and making sure that it's still relevant to the city of Laingsburg and that it's still guiding, and aligns with the goals and objectives that we have for economic development. They also wanted us to address the progress that we've made with the goals and actions specifically. This is not a full list, but I looked through it just to get a few points. So a lot of the goals, they're listed under like infrastructure, education, economy. So infrastructure was develop, create, and maintain an efficient infrastructure that will enable the region to compete in a global marketplace. And as progress, the city has applied to a lot of grant funding. We obviously haven't received everything that we've applied for, but to try to improve Laingsburg's infrastructure, including the Spark and Now Community Center grant that would add public Wi-Fi access at McClintock Park. And we're hoping that we hear back from that grant this month, I believe. They said in January. For education, develop and retain a talented workforce so regional businesses can compete on a global basis. I know that DPW works and provides opportunities for work experience and education to high school students. And you also got a Sedum Fellow, so that's helped me with my career path. And then economy, strengthen existing and create new collaborative partnership to operate efficiently as one voice for regional economic success. While I've just been here, we added 2 rental units in downtown Laingsburg through the rental rehab grant that Cassie and Kim have helped manage. We're working towards developing 120 Railroad into some more housing. I've updated Laingsburg profile on Pier Michigan and got Laingsburg's website on the DNR profile page to help expand some tourism opportunities. And then we're also working towards adding a new parking lot in partnership with the school district. So those are just some examples of progress that we've made to our goals. And for the RRC side of things, like I said, they just want to make sure that the plan is still in alignment with what you all deem as our goals and objectives. So I think that it needs a motion to affirm, if you think that it still aligns, a motion to affirm the relevance of the economic development strategy.
When does that have to be done? When should we have it done?
The all RRC renewal points have a deadline, I think, of April.
Okay,
We got a little bit of time,
yeah.
right?
So there'll just be more on the next, I blocked it off in months. Not saying that you have to do it today, but there will be more stuff on next month's agenda that you don't see this month. So these 3 points are not everything that we have to cover.
Got it. Okay,
So the important thing would be to look over the goals and objectives in this thing and decide if we're still, is that from my understanding that would probably.
Yeah, it's just in making sure that it's still relevant to, what we want to see.
Because
One thing that stood out to me is the
library.
water, the city water system.
Yeah.
How that's, and there was a goal here to determine the scope and cost, and then long-term goal to develop the water system. I know it's been talked about briefly in city planning commission meetings. And where does that stand? And like, does the city have any interest in that? Have we looked into the cost? I feel like I've been told it's been looked into in the past, but I don't know all the details.
I think it kind of got thrown to the wayside. Because you start adding a water tower and all that stuff, you don't know how much more taxes it could cost you.
Right.
And it's gonna cost us for DPW to have somebody that knows that water system, add chemicals. So
I mean, it definitely seems like it'd be very expensive. And
it is.
I mean, the benefits here, I think, it's trying this document is just trying to show that it would bring, boost our city, I guess, and
the cost is gonna kill us.
so,
I
but I guess if that is the case, like, if
Yeah.
that's the decision, like, is that
so
still a
that's
goal?
one side of the argument.
Yeah.
Right? The other side of the argument is we're gonna be limited in our growth and
Right,
what people want to come here because we don't have water, because they have so water.
But we are considered a bedroom community.
Right.
And so there might be some bigger type businesses, but where are we gonna put them anyway?
Right.
But
Right,
we
do
might
we
not be able to-
really-
yeah,
do we
that we-
want that?
Right,
I mean,
right, that's the,
We won't get industry here because we don't have water.
right,
We're pretty much been told. But do we care?
right.
Do we care to have a factory or something like that north of town? Don't know.
And if we did, north of town, like, would
Isn't it really-
the city water even be part of it?
Right, yeah, well, that's, yes, right, exactly.
So I guess the
Exactly.
only reason I bring that up is like, I think that would be worth evaluating whether or not this is still a goal. I'm not
Right.
stating my position on that item, maybe, but.
I think it just got dropped to the wayside. Just put it
So,
lightly.
so I would like to at some point. That's how we say this, readdress it, because what you said was well, I've heard that it's gonna cost so much, and you said, oh, it's gonna kill us.
Hmm.
Well, we don't know that, right? Maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't, right? But at some point,
Is there a national grant that?
So here-
there's a grant that, yes, right, exactly.
So here's the thing, right now, everyone has wells and they're all fine.
Right.
Well, what happens if all of a sudden something happens? And
Right.
wells start growing, that's where we're at. I don't think it's gonna happen, but it's always something that, it's kind of like everything else. I think to at least look into it. Doesn't mean you're gonna do it, but if you
Right.
have it planned in case something changes. Is
Where did we hear some town that the wells all went?
north of us.
Well, so like here,
And then there was a grant to pay for it because.
Yeah, it's
I believe-
because it was,
Yes,
so they didn't.
right,
on that.
right.
Mhm.
but I was told here, because we got so much water here, we're in swampland pretty much.
Yeah.
I know my well's 80 foot down under. I had to pull it. And put a new check valve on it, so I'm like 80 foot down, that was pretty substantial for.
Wow.
Being here.
But if
So-
something happens and all of a sudden something changes,
Mm,
it'd be nice, you know.
We're a
I'm just
water
saying-
state.
But I'm just
I'm not
saying,
too worried
it's
about it.
it worth, maybe it is worth investigating, not necessarily. For it.
We get with, I don't know if we were talking about getting with like Ovid, Perry, DeWitt. And, seeing what their bills are, and stuff would be because,
Perry just, didn't they just do it or I'm not?
I don't know.
They have a water tower they did when I lived there
where's that?
in Perry.
Yeah, they do. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Get with these and see what
What
the
they're-
They like
cost is
see
gonna
to
be.
evaluate it. I mean, I
nobody
don't
ever
see
did that.
anything wrong with just looking into it.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
if
just-
If it's $100,000
And if
just
it,
to look
then we
into it, I
can
mean, we
kind
need to.
of take
assess
it off
but-
there
Right.
if that's the case, and
But if it's-
reevaluate that.
If it's,
No, you're fine.
but if
just
it's
glad-
calling Perry, calling Duran, calling Ovid and saying, hey, what does it cost you? Would you, I mean, it's.
Now you're gonna get penalized for what water you use. When you go to that too, you're gonna get penalized for whatever water you use.
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah, because we had to pay for water.
I think it'd be worth looking into what the
What the cost,
the cost analysis. is.
if for nothing else, so that somebody asks the question.
We can address it.
Edwin Allen, well, why don't you have water? Well, we found that it would cost us $23 million and we didn't think.
Yeah.
That,
Back when I was, 5 years old, they put the sewer system in, never did anything with it, never maintained it. Until, well, it's been since I've been on council, so about 8 years ago. So it was in the 70s. And they I remember when they put the sewer in,
Mhm.
well, now it costs a whole crap load of money, because we'd reline the ponds and a bunch of other stuff that they never maintained over the years. So, I mean, that's
Okay.
pretty costly.
all right.
So you're looking at us looking at this. And specifically looking at the goals and objectives and seeing if we feel like it fits what that's.
Still trying to
Yes, if it's
establish.
still relevant to what you guys would wanna see for economic development.
So I guess I would like to ask people, I heard what you said, Olivia, about more coming on the next meeting, but let's have people think about this.
Yeah, that's-
I hate the, okay, here, look at this, and within 3 minutes.
Obviously.
Yeah, but
come
then we
up with-
can address it with her at the next meeting and be like, hey, this is what we wanna adjust, because it gives us time to look at this and then. if it-
So put it on.
And not so much looking at, I mean, we can all read it and we go, but maybe I'm just slow. But an hour from now, I'd go, oh yeah, that might be nice, maybe we should have done that, right?
Right.
So, okay, so let's everything else that we're gonna have to do, Olivia, let's get it on the next agenda.
Okay.
So we can,
Everything?
well, yeah, everything that we're gonna have to do for the RRC. Just. We may do something like this, have you just explain it to us, right? So we can know what we're looking at and can come back in the, and maybe have a schedule that says, okay,
Okay,
here, we need to talk this week. We're gonna need to do these things. We need to talk this in the March, and in April, we need to approve. Whatever, right? Just so we have some foreshadowing of what we're gonna be doing. What we're gonna
Yeah, you
do.
said April's the deadline, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, that
And she's got more stuff coming
Got
down the
more
pipe
stuff,
that we've
yeah.
got.
we kind of need to see.
Yeah.
Right,
So next meeting, we can talk more about it.
Mhm.
sounds good.
So the next, those three things you said.
yeah, so,
Yeah, so the permit is. Yes,
So I really do think we should look at the permit thing based on what.
right,
So I don't think we wanna, if we wanna,
so what are you looking at for the permit cost table? I mean,
the same thing, just
Oh, I got that.
we don't wanna change anything.
So is it adequate? I'm just throwing this out there. Is it adequate to say, hey, we're looking at changing how we do our building department, and we are gonna be reviewing these as part of that? Does that get done? Or if we say, nope, these fees are good, in April and May, we come back and Rob comes on and we say, you know,
They just
feel-
want to make sure that you have relevant information that the city is still using. So if these are the fees that we're still charging community members if they come in for a deck or something,
Yep.
then it's still relevant right now.
Got
So I think that it would be fair, and then in 2 months that you decide that you're changing who you're doing the building through and change it, I can just update the date on there and
perfect.
move forward.
I mean, I think we're good. I mean, you have memorized what all these costs are.
I
Yeah,
think
this
it's pretty
is what-
generic
this
too,
is
when
This
it was
is what we
written.
charge for everything.
And yeah, this is what, I just pulled it from our website. What I will need to change at the bottom is it says effective date. And the last time it was, the date was specifically changed was 2021, so I'll just change it to today's date.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
And then the last one is something that would probably need a little bit more. Looking at, it's the training strategies. So this one was for 2022 to 2023. So it'd be for 2024 to 2025. So the specific things we would need to look at is, are we happy with the current budget that is allocated towards each board for training? Are the goals, the 3 primary goals that we have outlined, still relevant? And then priority topics for each board, are they still relevant, or do we want to change or add or subtract what priority topics might be for the planning commission, the DDA?
So, I mean, since we're getting a new clerk treasurer, I mean, there's a chance that we might need more training.
Right.
First. Based, depending on who we hire.
In this one, I wanted to also introduce, I think Paula said it would be smart to do while you guys do the budget, which I know that Kim and Cassie have also been. Just so you know where the money is allocated for training purposes.
Right. Sharing outcomes. City officials are expected to provide a short verbal report out of the next meeting following any training meeting. Have you done
You done the training?
that? Yeah, sure. Good point. Good point.
And this is just for the board, it's not including the training that's in office either. So the new clerk treasurer, there's a whole budget for that. What they.
Okay, is that what they're talking about up here though? Are those training, it says funding, $2,000 for. Is that training for?
Yeah, like, but with these ones are not included in,
Oh, okay.
it's like the different boards are not, and there's nothing included besides the. I mean, like I have a budget for deputy clerk. The clerk treasurer has. In, I don't know, that.
And how often do we look at this?
The training,
Yeah. Like this
I think this
plan
is
to
an annual.
annual, okay. So every once in a while, you obviously would have to bump stuff if it had been sitting there at the same amount for.
Or like, for example, the DDA, I know has finished the Michigan Main Street training, so that could be eliminated from this and something else could be added. That's all I have this week or this month, and next month I can add everything else and include these 2 things. And I'm good to change the permit cost date though.
Okay,
Is that
perfect.
correct?
Yep, you are correct. Yep.
Do you have any update on the mural at all? Has anybody made any?
I've gotten my first RFP back. And the deadline for the schedule that I made gave a 1-month lenience period in case we didn't get any, or we didn't like the submissions that we got, but the first deadline is February 2nd, so they still have about a month. I've talked to 3 or 4 people, like, that had clarifying questions, and I've gotten one, like, final RFP back from somebody. And I got the contracts approved by the attorney, just to make sure that the language was okay, and I think that's also.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, number 12. City clerk treasurer position. We've gotten 4 resumes. First, I want to remind you. 5? Oh, okay. I haven't seen that. I want to remind you, don't use names in here. Okay. So were there any that, based on the ones I saw, I didn't see the 5th one?
You got this. Thank you. Bye, you guys. Bye.
Were there any that we wouldn't be interested in?
Number 1.
Number 1?
Number 1. I would agree with you.
Yes,
I agree.
I agree.
Number 3 doesn't have a lot of
No,
backing.
I do feel like though, there was some. I think sometimes we want to interview and just see, and that one I would put in the,
The
Like to
background
see-
side of things.
yeah,
Yeah,
there is some business.
Mhm.
I was casually interested in this one.
And I don't.
And
know. So-
I feel like the way the interview is gonna be. Like some people might look really good on paper and other people might not look good on paper, but you get them in front of you and you like them.
I would rather spend an extra hour interviewing people that we don't, than to not and potentially miss them. If that makes sense, so.
Or I felt like maybe had like a lot of experience, but maybe unrelated experience.
yes. Makes sense, cause I thought the same thing, I'm like, with, yeah,
But sometimes you can apply for something and think that you're not qualified and do really well in that position.
I know, but I'm
But
looking
yeah,
at, I'm looking at
qualifications,
experience,
yeah.
cause you're dealing with money and everything else.
Exactly.
5 was like
You had some experience.
very,
Mhm.
Yes.
lot.
Yeah.
I think that person would be a great.
I think
person to
definitely,
interview.
definitely
I agree
interview
for
number
sure.
5, I think.
Yeah.
I think number 2 actually should be interviewed too.
Look at the
longevity, how long they're in a position. Yeah, well, that's the other thing. I was like, I don't look good either, but
One of them was at MSU and it seemed like just the job title may have changed.
Yes, yeah, that's when with grants, if they get funding, then they have to get.
which number was that one?
That was
I-
Yeah.
Number
So
4?
to your point, I was with the company for 20 years.
Mhm.
You look at my resume, it looks like I changed jobs every 2
2
years,
years.
but I was doing different roles
Right,
at that same company.
right.
And actually was contracted out, so I put the client, so it really looked like I was changing.
Mhm.
But I wasn't.
My resume would show the same. 2, 3, and 5 were the ones that stood out to me as good candidates.
Mhm.
What were the challenges with 4?
Financial experience.
He was
Yes.
more of a, yeah,
Unrelated
unrelated.
experience.
Okay.
Lots of experience, but it seemed unrelated. That's my take.
I-
And I guess I didn't see the one for number 2, so I didn't even get to see that one.
It was early on.
Oh,
Mhm.
I missed that one though.
Had a lot of grant experience.
Well, okay, that might be a good thing too.
Made
We're
this-
definitely looking for that. That's my next thing, looking for somebody.
Yeah.
I'll get a copy of that one, look at, I guess, cause I don't know how I missed that one.
So is the application shut down or are we still taking?
I don't
They were
think there's a
supposed to
date
be-
on it.
There was supposed to be the second.
Second.
one.
We didn't put a date
I
on
mean,
it.
on the
I'm fine
Thursday.
taking them.
Oh, I am too. I have no reason not to.
I don't think we didn't put a date on any of the,
Okay.
I mean, besides the MML, which is up in 30 days. you have to
That's
pay
when you
for
gotta
it.
pay for it?
Yeah. We want 30 more days left for that, but
What's what, 150 or something?
for a month,
How many of these come off from that, do you know?
one,
Oh,
The first.
the
one,
very
I
first
think.
one,
oh,
Mhm.
so,
probably not one.
Right.
It came really quick too, the first
Mhm.
one.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I mean. Yeah. that
Okay,
one-
so we want to set up interviews with 2, 3, and 5? Everybody
2,
good
3,
with
and
it?
4, and 5.
2 through 5, get all.
2
five.
through 5, all 4? Okay,
All four.
I'm good with that. Like I said.
and then we'll see what else comes in the process too, I guess.
Yep, yep. I'd like to, like we talked about before, I'd like to set up a special meeting 2 weeks from tonight. We're doing those interviews.
What's the date of them?
22nd.
I will not.
Sorry, what?
I will not.
What about the 29th?
I will not. I will not be here. Actually, I will be here the 20th. We get back 20. I'll be gone. I'll be gone the 26th through the 1st. For a special meeting, is there a hindrance on being on the phone
Or Zoom in.
or Zoom in?
Oh, Yeah.
I didn't-
I didn't know with our regulations if it's stated in
I
there.
don't know the
Do
answer to
that.
that.
What was the other option, the
That's
22nd?
right, I remember there
Well,
was a
we had
problem
talked
on
about the
22nd.
22nd and the 29th.
Was our second official here or
Okay.
not? Because with COVID, I don't know if the
It's-
city changed.
But you're only interviewing, you're
Yeah.
not hiring,
Okay.
so
Right.
you're just interviewing, so I don't think, hey, I have to have. Like, you're just gonna ask questions, you're gonna.
Right.
I mean, it's a meeting, you're not gonna make any motions, you're not gonna decide anything, so I think you can do that. I'll double check, for you, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure, because
Well,
if you were hiring, no, you'd have.
The only thing we might be deciding is what the next step is.
right, that's where I was going is, after we have the interviews, we're gonna want a half hour, so kind of exactly what we're doing now. Hey, maybe we say, number 2, let's just go ahead. Stood above everything, I'm not making up.
Well, you still have a quorum to decide that,
I get
he
that,
just would be able to vote.
Right.
you're right, okay,
Oh,
got it,
yeah,
got it.
yeah.
But we also may go, well, number 2 and number 4, let's use number 3 and number 5. Boy, they were pretty close. We may want to bring them back in and talk to them again,
Right.
right? We just don't know, right?
Well, and here's the next thing, what I've seen in the past, you could set up stuff for these, maybe they found another job elsewhere by the time they get here and we do this, they don't show up.
Right. And that's the other thing is we don't wanna say for sure we're doing one, if
Yeah,
other people start, if they don't end up wanting a job, look what we want or whatever.
Why don't we
Yes,
plan on doing them on the 22nd? You could join via Zoom. Okay, you check.
what is that, what day, or what day is it?
Monday.
Monday.
Oh, Monday?
I assume you're gone all week, so it wouldn't matter what night.
Yeah.
I mean, if we change, wouldn't have to do it Monday.
Is that city planning commission night?
No. That's the 15th.
So what time would we think about even starting them? 5:30, 5 o'clock? I mean, I could be here by 5,
What time can people be?
and so we ain't here all
You can be
night.
here by 5, and
Yeah,
get
I
out
can
at
be here.
4:30.
I can be here by 4.
Probably be here about 5:30.
It's 4 AM.
Yeah, we do it 5:30 then.
Yeah. All right, 5:30.
See who really wants this job.
So,
I'm ready to get here early.
so you wanna do 5:30? I mean,
I'm fine with that.
Does that work for you, Greg? Don't know where, I mean,
I'll be in Disney, so.
I was,
I'll
so
rub that.
I was guessing that's where you were going, and I didn't want to start at 5:30 if you thought you'd still be there.
No.
Okay. Was kind of
Give me a reason to get out of work.
Okay.
traveling.
I've had enough.
Yeah.
You take them.
And when you work there, you've had enough.
So we want to set up a half hour for each interview.
That's
So
what I
can
was
you
gonna ask.
contact them and,
For a half hour,
I think,
absolutely.
you
Yeah,
can
half
do like 20-25 minutes in the
Yeah.
interim, and like tell them.
Yeah, have them
So
set
what-
up half hour.
So how do you wanna do this? You wanna, each of us have 5 questions or something, so many questions to ask this person, so we keep it kinda.
I thought he said that we should submit
No.
the questions. to him.
yeah,
Yes.
let's
Oh.
come up with a set of
Yeah,
questions
but
that I will
I got it.
ask, right? And then, so I figured, give an overview of the position, Laingsburg, 3 minutes, right? have a series of questions that we all agree that we want to ask, right? Give them a chance to talk about themselves. I tell people, chance for them to sell themselves. Why are you for that position? And then open up for the group to ask them questions, because you may come up with a question based on what they say or what they ask that,
All in 20 minutes.
So we should,
yeah, I'm concerned about that.
Well, you can give them a time limit
Yeah.
with like, what was it, like 3 minute?
Yeah.
Tell
Yeah.
your story about yourself, you know, that's selling yourself. So
Is that-
most speeches should only take about 3 minutes anyway.
I would say, we submit the questions to you, you're gonna have some of them, they're gonna overlap, you just weed them down to.
Right.
What the, you know,
3 or 4 or 5
We email you individually,
individually,
not
yes.
as a group.
As a group.
What question? Just one question each, or what do you?
No, do what you,
Whatever comes to mind.
whatever comes to mind, and I will funnel that down, and I'll email you all these are the questions.
So, so we're gonna do it 22nd when you want by, I guess, to know, you want, what, a week before?
Yes.
Okay.
that'd be Good. Yeah. And so I'm back to the 20 minutes. If we did 45 minutes for each, that's good, it's gonna be long.
20 minutes.
I need to be a lot done in 20 minutes. but
Okay.
that's not
All right.
bad. I've interviewed
Don't
people
think mine
before,
took that
unless you.
Most interviews will take you no than 2 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
I usually.
I mean, I've cut people off, it's like, all right, I'm all set, I don't need anything else from you. Bye.
Yeah.
Don't take
I
long.
was thinking, why are you guys both here?
Right.
Okay, so schedule them for.
Half hour.
That's the first
20
test.
minutes.
You give them the guidelines that they have a certain amount of time. If they don't listen, that's probably not a good thing.
Yep. Okay.
Starting at 5:30,
Starting at 5:30.
and then every half hour, because we do 20 minutes, 10 minutes.
And we're probably gonna wanna have them arrange it so they can come in the front door.
Yeah.
So I think you say 20 minutes and then you give 5 minutes of fluff if they run
Yeah.
over, and then the 5 minutes to get us to get organized to get the next person. But for sure,
And so we're gonna do 2 through 5, does not tell number 1, not being considered. We'll do that once we make a decision on a specific person, and they've accepted. So,
Be curious if he shows up.
okay. Any other questions, any other things we need to know on that? Okay. Holiday schedule.
So last month we had this, and it wasn't in your packet, because I forgot to add it, so it needs to be approved.
make a motion to approve the.
A second.
Crap, how many days do you guys get off?
If they had that many.
Yeah, let's say, work for the government, is that right?
That's for the government.
It's one of the big bets.
And you forgot to say work.
All right, we have a motion to approve it. Do we have a second?
Yeah, Marcy already did.
Okay, I didn't. I just-
We're on it.
Okay, good. I need more discussion. Any?
We don't need any more discussion.
I know. Okay, all in favor of approving the holiday schedules? Yeah.
I,
All opposed, say aye.
So they took New Year's Day off without approval?
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically.
Sorry.
Now you better work Martin Luther King. All
It
right,
was supposed to be last month, and
yeah,
it was on there, it just wasn't in your package.
this wasn't.
Waited to bring this to us until next December. I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
It's already too late, but here you go.
School parking lots, update, just a quick update. Met with, the school on January 3rd. They are moving ahead with getting quotes, putting out the RFP. That is supposed to be done by the end of the month, right? No changes really to what we last saw. They had updated a few things, but things we had said we wanted. So,
But they switched people they were using.
what's that?
They let one person.
Yes, yeah, it's
So
Chris
why would
went
it-
through their work.
So hopefully now get going.
Who are they using?
Oh, they still have their,
Make sure it wasn't the same people I put the high school.
yeah, it was,
It is, yeah.
Yeah. but they still kept checks.
Right,
They just made them the project manager.
Right.
So,
So,
how that is.
they're doing lights, the school has lights, so just to make sure everybody's on the same page. We talked about wanting the lights all to be the same as what we have going down.
Yeah.
They're not going to be, the ones in the parking lot are gonna be like what they're at school, right? There's one on this road that Dave's gonna go out and buy a light. And on Woodhull, yes, and it's gonna match the ones that are on the road.
So. Driving by the high school, they got pretty bright lights out there,
They're new.
so they're gonna be really bright right here at the corner now.
Mhm.
That'll be different.
Because they're gonna, like, I'm assuming they're putting the old ones from the high school in there, because they got them at the shop.
No, I think they're new.
I think.
I
Yeah,
think they're extras.
yeah, they're
LEDs, yes. Mhm.
the weird looking flat.
That'll be different.
So,
You'll put different shades of curtains up in your window.
yeah,
The time frame that they're thinking of completing it is.
right, 1st of June, they're gonna wanna be ready to go. I say 1st of June, I maybe.
Oh, so the school gets out.
As soon as school gets out, they want to start.
Well, it'll definitely be done by next school year. Right?
Yeah, well, we asked about pancake breakfast. Cause I mean, there'll be 1,000 people right down
Oh,
in that
geez.
corner, right? And they said, yep, we will make sure that. It's either done, they didn't think it would be done by then, but that it would be blocked off and it would be safe. For people, so.
Cause that's right down Main Street, correct? They say there ain't no other place really to,
Right, yeah, well, the tables for pancake breakfast are right there by that park,
okay.
so.
Base Cup Park?
Not half.
Yeah.
How about the golf course?
Yeah.
How about the golf course?
There you go.
Not happening.
Not happening.
All right, anything else, any other updates?
Got it.
I'm trying to remember. So that's the question about the soil, that came out of that, because there was a little bit of concern about rain runoff, if we got a big rain, where we go. We decided that it's small enough that it does not have to be approved by the county. We also don't think it's gonna be a problem. What?
Doesn't appear to be, but we haven't had a big.
No, but
Tomorrow.
if you pave that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think they're gonna have it so that first of all, there'll be a sewer drain, but if the sewer drain gets full, they're gonna do it so that it goes out onto Woodhull. Woodhull right there in front of the vet goes down into Hogback, and there's plenty of space down there, so. So that was one of the concerns. They're wiring for a sign on the corner for us. The DDA is looking at doing a sign out there.
That'd be kinda cool.
Yeah.
Curious to see what they pick on that.
That'll be bright too.
That would be great too. Mhm.
Well, I don't live right there by that corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I can see the school one right from my, like, I always think it's top light. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, what?
Yeah. All right, and I can't think of anything else. On that. Budget report. What do we need to do on the budget report? Review it, approve it?
So we looked at it in the finance, it's just, I think, time to look at the budget because it's been 6 months. The right thing that stuck out to us.
I went through it too, I'm like, holy crap.
$1,000.
But do remember that the auditor said that we are. Really, I'm not sure we are conservative and we do have.
A lot of liquid assets. Right. Land disposal.
So
Not
we
that
need
we
a
wanna
motion,
spend
or-
it,
Yeah, let's have a motion to approve the.
I'll make a
budget.
motion.
But there isn't, what is there to approve?
Well,
There's
just
nothing
a
to
report.
approve, it's just a
It's a-
report.
This report,
Yeah,
okay,
it's not like in the
oh,
budget.
so we're not having to agree with,
Yeah,
any-
yeah.
No, it's
okay,
just,
cause we're not spending any money.
Any
Well,
other
we are, but.
any other things we need to talk about in the budget?
It's trigger happy.
Yeah.
it's just like, look at it, kind of.
He's like,
Yeah,
game
yeah.
on. There's a game.
It's over there watching it.
No.
I think I like this mercy.
All right. City council meeting schedule. This is another formality that we have to approve. Yep.
At January 22nd.
So the only one that kind of sticks out was July 1st, and that will be the fourth weekend, but that makes, then the fourth will be like 3 days from then, so. I think that's-
It's a Monday.
Yeah, that's why we kept it. We're trying
So
to
it
go
makes
through
sense.
this.
Because if not, it'd be a couple days after.
Right,
Is there any of them that are like? Everything stupid.
Registered holidays or whatever.
I was just thinking, because our library boards are the same days on a couple of days.
yeah, we're gonna give this to her.
And
then have
yeah, I
her
was just gonna
schedule
send it,
around-
because I think
yeah.
that we gotta move some stuff around in the days,
Right.
because it is around like the 4th of July week, we're gone. So I'm gonna have to stay for this meeting and then go on vacation.
We can't do the November 11th. Somebody's birthday.
There's not a lot of worse things.
Yeah, that's true.
It always seems like the banquet, it's the.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
Country.
so get a motion to approve the schedule.
I make a motion.
Second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Okay, the meeting schedule has been approved. Everybody on red pen has the Edwin Allen's homes, that's the 120 Railroad update.
Just wanna make sure you guys keep out, that's all.
Yeah.
I put it in red.
Yeah, we met with them. As much to just say, hey, we know Paula's left, has been your primary point of contact. You know, we're looking to replace her, don't feel like we're gonna abandon you, right, type of a thing. And he was still pretty bullish on Laingsburg, wanting to move forward, but, the 120 Railroad, they can only do about half the number of houses they wanted to because the back was so wet. And so he's kind of strongly hinting that if they're gonna do something, they need more space, more houses to be able to do. So we went over and looked at the dog park, what is that one?
Street Street.
Treat Street. Didn't think that was, I thought it was bigger than what we thought it was, but
That's not very good.
yeah, and I
I
think
think
that's,
it's Houston. I don't really know exactly.
right.
That's the one that butts up to the farm fields
Mhm.
beyond the school.
So the house that used to sit there years ago was very tiny.
Right.
Very, very tiny.
Looked at Hog's Back and it wasn't flat.
What is Hogs?
Hog's Back is behind the vet, on the other side of the vet.
That
Clinic.
woods area? Okay.
It's Hog's Back because it goes down and then comes up and goes back.
Remember you saw you're blind back.
So who owns that field behind where Treat Street is? Cause like I seen it on the plan
Mahoney.
here.
Yeah.
Mahoney still own that?
So there was a thought to see if anybody would want to sell, 'cause they said they would like 5 acres.
Right.
Or more. Another site of.
What about the West Street? Properties for sale, 15 acres.
Oh, it's the one on the corner.
We don't own it, but
Well,
Yeah, it's
there was no
currently
void with them, well, whoever, if they had property versus what they'd get from us with the, what they
Dollar,
applied for.
we sold them the
Yeah.
property for a
Well,
dollar.
what about, cause weren't they talking about behind plazas and all that? Between that and the car wash and behind the car wash?
It
It looked
said
bad,
that
it
wasn't
wasn't
big
big
enough.
enough.
Huh.
So
they don't want to move forward with the railroad street.
they didn't say that.
They can only build a couple houses.
They,
whereas
they wanted to do 30 and they could only do 15.
And
And it was, so they didn't necessarily say, no, we don't want to do that, but it was like, we'd like to have.
I got someone else here in town that was interested in it, bought the plotter or whatever they call it or whatever to drop designs. Lives or has a business across, or by the bar. And he was kind of shoved aside, but wondering what the arrangements were with him, possibly.
Mhm.
And building apartments and stuff is what he was looking at, I think.
Right,
So that's a possibility too. You know what I mean?
yep,
Local, really have someone local anyway.
Well, especially if they would be willing to go through with it, considering they don't have the spot and that spot
Yeah.
would be good I mean, even for apartments,
Yeah.
because it's long enough to be able to do that, so
What was that? at? So,
right behind the.
PDPs,
PDPs.
The one.
This property they
Think
wanted.
the one twenty.
This way, if they did.
or they could even
apartment,
do it,
For example, it's
By the old
long
car
enough
wash.
to be able to do it, yeah,
I mean, either
the
or,
car wash would be set up for that way.
couple of options there with, I
Yeah,
think that's why when they had a meeting, had a couple of gals from the bar down there. Show up here, I guess that's probably where they heard it from, but, cause at one point, I think before I was on council, they were talking about apartments
yeah,
or
they
something.
were talking about houses too, but nobody would go through
Yeah.
with like dropping the amount of
Oh,
money
right,
to be able to do it.
I mean, that's a possibility too.
Yep.
We don't need the other company.
No,
We just have to have another person come in and reevaluate it though,
Right.
through their stuff, which. I mean,
okay. we
Yeah,
can move
they're-
forward.
Duck and I,
We can look, yeah, and they're not, I mean, they, how did he say it? They see this quite a bit where they have cities that have plenty of space, but no desire, no interest. And you have cities that have interest and don't have space. All right. All right, anything else on, before we go into bills?
mhm.
All right, can I get a motion to pay bills?
make a motion.
I'll second.
Any questions, any discussions? Wow, tax distributions went up. Between Friday and then.
That kind of weird.
Okay. All right, all in favor of paying the bills, say aye. Oh, no, we have, sorry.
Alan,
Yes,
Keezer, Jess, Severs.
Yes.
Craig.
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes,
Miller,
Yes.
Keezer.
Yes. All right, committee reports. Finance,
We talked about the overhead door quote and the Woodbury project, and we looked over the budget. And then talked about the audit.
Okay.
So,
all right. Police,
oh, too busy looking for other stuff. So. Nope, that's over there. What page is it here? So basically, had 4 reports. So it was slow. 22 total traffic stops, left 11 traffic tickets issued. 11 traffic warnings. Had a couple of ordinance violation warnings with abandoned vehicles. I guess, they had to buy, what, a couple of 2 or 3 ticket books? 4, 3?
no, next year, that's for the budget.
Oh.
next year.
But he has to buy more tickets, so.
That'll
Probably
be
it's a
a
little
budget.
light with tickets.
It'll be a budget item.
Oh, he's still got enough.
Yeah.
Look like, what, did foot patrol for Winterfest, escort for Christmas, the Christmas parade. And then did the shop with a hero at DeWitt Township Meyer with 9 Laingsburg students. And looks like the graphics, that matched the 2017 patrol car. And then on 2023 that they're on there, so they both matched. And of course LSW purchased the 2013 Ford Explorer. They got their graphics on, I guess. So, anything else on that one? I think I covered quite a bit. That worked. Okay, that's it for that one.
Just go on to your another.
I got, now I got to find my other one here. That's what I look for. Yeah, I got that one, but I'm looking for, gosh darn it. Aha. No, it should be on there. Look. Looks like, I guess for starters, they locked in the, ambulance for the fall of 2024. Which is a good thing. What I'm looking for, and thought I had right there was the
I thought those were like 18 months out. Not-
So that's right.
Well, it'll be about November of 24, we will get it.
Yeah, so they found that one, so they
Yeah,
were
if
lucky.
we weren't to get that one, it'd be another 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
Got it. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
We were looking out.
So this
That's a
thing,
good thing.
that ain't my last one, is it? What the hell? Hey, I thought it was still sitting in the truck, see. Or is that
Yeah,
my,
because they haven't got November or December yet, but the total of the year to date's wrong, but
Yeah.
those numbers are.
okay,
correct.
so I'll use this one. God, drive me nuts. You got the wrong one. So the ambulance had, November, the city had 12 calls for the ambulance. Scioto had 8, Woodhull had 18. They had 2 mutual aids. And year to date, which is off by a few, was 412 in November. Because I don't have the right paperwork. Fire rescue, the city had 3. Scioto had 2, Woodhull had 13. Victor had 12, Bennington had 1, they had 9 mutual aids. And year to date was, well, total calls for the month was 40, and 40 for the other one, but year to date 435, we know it's a little more than that now, but. By a little bit, they've been busy. And that's it for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I just finished that. You'll get it next week, but the ambulance had a total of, I think it was 503 runs for the year. And fire had 524.
Okay.
So you got it before the board, LSW board did.
There you go, perfect. Okay, so- all right, library, that's you.
Jeff came and discussed our meetings and making sure like they were open or closed, kind of similar to what we discussed here too. So,
Open Meetings Act.
yeah, Open Meetings Act. Friends of the Library, he presented and shared numbers from, I believe, 2018 to now with what they have helped the library with. Sandra let us know that most of the building stuff was completed with Dave, thank you. And that they were looking for quotes. Kate is gonna build a logo for the library. They also posted on possibly doing like a 4x4 painting. And we discussed attendance for how many meetings they can miss. And that's about it.
Is there not?
So what did you decide?
We do not have a logo for the library.
Really?
Huh?
So what was the decision about attendance?
2
In a year or?
2 in a year.
That's kind of interesting. I would have thought they would have done at least 3.
It's either 2 or 3. I don't think that we settled as of yet on how many we were doing. Tonight was supposed to be a meeting, but we had 2 members that were sick and I was here, so
Right.
we couldn't.
Cause that's gonna
So
be,
we have to remove it because we have some people that participate when they want to participate, and I just
Oh.
feel like we have a really good board, and I think that there should be standards. I mean, we get our times just like we do with this city, and they should be able to schedule accordingly based on that.
'cause I know,
I
like,
mean, if somebody gets sick, it's a little bit different, but
right, cause when I was on here, it's like, got on council, at first they told me, you know, and everybody there, like, you can't miss more than 3 or you're out. I'm
Right.
like, okay.
and our board with there is a little bit smaller. But we set it between 2 and 3, but we never really like went through with what days we're gonna approve or not.
So the one thing that, because obviously your meeting sometimes gets, canceled last minute. We really need to put, a thing on the door that says
Yes.
meeting's being canceled and when it's gonna be.
Well, it literally just happened right before I came here.
Right, and then when it's gonna be rescheduled, because
Yeah.
That's an open meeting.
And that's, yeah, exactly, because it should be
Oh,
listed out there.
gotcha.
That's why, like, we even send it out, and this is just me too. Our president sends out even a text the day before, and then she sends one out the morning of. Usually everybody knows by that morning if they are sick or they can't
Right.
make it.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be addressed on there just like that. Hey,
Right.
don't forget the meetings this time. Well, we got 2 text messages right before I came here on 2 people being sick. Well, it wasn't addressed when we first sent that there so that we could reschedule it.
Right, well, and like, we have all the meetings on our public notice, so we should be be told to.
Yeah.
When you reschedule it.
Right,
Because we
okay.
need to change our.
You want us to send you an email? Usually Sandra updates, she's pretty good at updating everything, but just in case, then
Yeah.
I can let the president know and she
Yeah,
can send.
yeah,
it
if any, somebody just wants to shoot, say, hey, we canceled and.
We
we're
rescheduled it.
rescheduled for this day so that we
Okay.
can change ours. Ours should be, but it's really important for you guys too,
Mm-hmm.
because at least if you cover that, meeting's canceled. And when it's.
Would you
rescheduled.
prefer us to write, like, have it on, like, how we printed out our flyer, having this posted on the library door? On when our meetings are?
That is, because we have it in, on
Just online?
ours, on our
Okay.
public notice that we put on the
Okay.
door, we put it on your guys' door and. You know,
Okay.
it's got the library in it, but if it
Right.
changes, then ours is wrong.
Cause that's the issue that we're having is that it's happening last minute and then it's frustrating even on my part and my president's part. That when we're there and then all of a sudden,
You all
nobody shows
You
up and we
can
have to go
even
home.
take ours and put cancel, you know, like through it, like.
Okay.
She can Sandra.
And then just write.
Right
the
where
date.
it's gonna be,
Okay.
yeah, that's good enough.
I'll just let her know. Usually she's pretty good at posting it back on there, but just
Yeah.
in case, I'll make sure that our president knows.
Well, that's just
Yeah.
kind of courtesy, you think?
Yeah, I think but that's why the attendance thing was brought up is, hey, you
Well,
know, we
yeah,
had this
it's-
problem
well, that
last
should be-
time.
That's an
and we
open
had
meetings
it.
act
Yeah.
too, when having it posted.
That should be across the board for all
Mhm.
committees and.
I mean, like I told them,
I
I
like
mean, it's a
three
good
weeks.
thing. I mean, if you get sick, you can't help it. I
Right.
mean, that is what it is. But we should know it, you know, at least the day before if you're sick.
Or the
You know,
morning.
just let us know, or if you're having vacation that week, just let us know so that we can reschedule it and everything is all taken care of.
Well,
That's not. the
and getting
situation
sick
we have.
once, but if you get sick twice or three times the night of a meeting, that's,
Yeah,
I mean, that's.
yeah, so
All right,
that's
so
why
I
that
don't-
was addressed.
Not on the library or?
No.
Okay, so, DDA. I don't remember, did we have notes and in the planning, do you remember what, did we have a planning meeting?
No.
Maybe it canceled.
Or DDA.
Or
That's why it's not
DPW.
gonna-
Nope.
Yeah, December.
You don't
All right.
remember all the details?
No, I don't remember all the
That
details.
was a big
Sorry.
meeting, Jeff.
Yeah, that's right. Mhm. What?
So, I talked to Heidi, our tax assessor, about coming to the next meeting. And just giving us a brief overview about property taxes, how they're assessed. And also any questions that people have. If we want to somehow put on our website that she's gonna come or whatever and ask any questions, try to make it maybe early on. in the-
Yeah, I would like to
Yeah.
know because I had people at the library. I just told Jeff that I had people at the library that were in, if you wanna take that. take that.
No. I mean, well,
I don't need that.
And I was really happy that she actually thought it was a good time right now to do it, and I feel like that some of the questions that people ask. She could answer, and I think she's very. You know, can explain things that people have,
I agree.
so she's agreed to come and she thought it was a good time, so I would like to try to put that on the agenda for next time.
All right, anything else?